It's been a while. It's been almost a week. It's been exactly just over a week that I have did anything here to give you guys updates on. As of last, not this Friday, but the Friday before, I actually finally got onto my vacation time. The last part of the year 225 is usually my third week of vacation. My brother finally came up from Toronto to visit my mom and I on Friday. So he actually came in when I was actually still working remotely from home. So they actually came home around. They came to our place around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So they actually came in. They arrived safely. They took a taxi from the airport up to our place to come and visit. They were staying at one of the local hotels in Laval, which is just another city away from us, for the 2 nights that they were up here in the Laval and Beaubriand area. So it was good to see them. I'm happy for them. It was great to see them, but it's also a lot of, and I don't mean this in a bad way. It takes a lot out of you, especially when you haven't seen your brother, your sister-in-law, and your niece, as an example, because I have one niece from him, and it was great to see them. And it also was very tiring and exhausting. Uh, there was a lot of stuff that we wanted to get done. My sister-in-law and my brother also did a lot of what you call it, did a lot of cooking for my mom and myself, because they were worried that we weren't eating right, and we were eating somewhat correctly. I'm not one of the greatest cooks, but I try my best to make healthy dinners and lunches and all that. Cook wise, making stews, doing the stuff like that. I haven't had a chance to actually gain any extra footage along that in order to make proper steady meals, and I'll admit that. Uh, it's like that for anybody who doesn't cook as often as they should. And by this stage of the game, I should be cooking full meals, not only for myself but for my mom and whenever we have company here. Uh, it's still a learning experience for me, and I'm not a fantastic cook, but I get there. I try. That's the imperative word, is I try to make a good meal. Um, it was great to see them for a couple of days. They actually went back to Toronto on Monday, so I continue on doing what I wanted to do from Monday through Friday. Uh, you know, having resting, relaxing, doing some odds and ends here around the house. The amount of snow that we also got, and the type of weather that we've been having, which is like in the minus teens all week. So that took a lot of fun of going out and doing certain things I wanted to get done outside. Uh, we had definitely had some good snow outside, and the one thing I liked the most is when it did snow and it didn't snow too much. Like we'd say, it wasn't over 10 inches of snow and all that. Was to use my one of the things that I have here. It's an electric shovel, a battery operated shovel, to do the walkways and all that. And I love using the little one that I have for the walkways, especially, and especially when I'm going into the carport that we have, or the tempo. I love using that little thing just to clear out things and get things done with that. But it's I only use it for the walkways mainly, and it's used only during the winter time. So it was fun to use, and I just wish I had some more time. I've been meaning to do something with my current desktop that I have here. I had a spare SSD here, 2 terabyte, and I was able to copy over an operating system called Ultimate Edition Ultimate Edition uh, Arch Linux. It used to be Ultimate Edition Ubuntu, and then the author, changed it over to Arch Linux, which was really great. Loved it. Problem is that soon, because I had actually installed I had to take my other SSD that I had in my small little desktop here, and the NVMe, because I just wanted to make sure that uh, when I was installing on this one here, that I was not going to by accidentally install it to the NVMe drive, because I have that as a data drive internally. Yes, it's faster, a lot faster than these ones here, the SATA SSDs. But for what I need it for, which is just for data storage, where I can just pull out this without worrying about, oh, I have to copy from USB onto a USB drive all my data to the other drive. I have already one drive there that's dedicated just for data. And when I am doing a fresh install, like on this one here, which I'm going to be putting a fresh install of a different operating system just to try out, I usually take that drive out, so I know for sure that when I do a fresh install on this, I'm not going to write over the other one, because that actually happened to me one time where I did not read the screen properly and I formatted the drive. I was like, oh no. So, lesson learned. So, probably more likely this afternoon, when I have a chance, is I'm going to install this and remove the other SSD, remove my NVMe drive, get this here flashed in with the other operating system. Once I have that done, put everything back together and just update it and just test it out. It's just something I've been meaning to look into. And since I have a spare hard drive, and SSD drive, I should say, keeps calling it a hard drive. They're interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. It's just to try it out. And most people ask me is like, what's the best way of doing something like that? I said, well, if you have, a SSD like this, you can use. I have a two. This is a 2 terabyte one from TimeTech. I do have another one here that originally came with. There it is. That came with the actual computer itself, and this is a 1 terabyte SSD from Western Digital. You can use it on a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte or a 512 gigabyte drive. All I'm really doing is I'm keeping my Windows partition separate, where I'm using, or I don't have to worry about, oh, I have to do this, I have to hit special commands. For me, I just have to swap out the drive, put the other one in, close it up, power it on. And I boot into this directly into the computer. And the computer that I'm using actually is a Lenovo M710Q, which has a i7 processor at 3.2, I believe, and 32 gigs of RAM. And I got it with a 1 terabyte hard drive. So I was lucky to get that on Amazon used. So that I'm good with for the time being. It has plenty of memory. Don't have to worry about expanding it because it's already at its maximum. And it works great. And I don't mind for it not being up to date, like with the latest versions of Windows, because I've been hearing that Windows 11 now with the latest updates like 24H2, 25H2, that it's slowing the OS down and it's making things worse. A lot slower than expected. So, because of my processor in there, that I can't update it to 24H2 or 25H2, I'm fine. I am not going to argue. At this point, it does what I needed to do when I'm working under Windows. Fine. Under the Linux environment, when I compared Windows 11 to Linux, Windows 11 is a lot of heavy resources, meaning that Microsoft is adding in, oh, you have to have this, TPM module 2.0, which is basically a security feature for encryption. And I think it was one other thing. I can't think of it on the top of my head. There was one other feature as well that, oh yeah, with uh, Windows 11, it requires a higher speed processor. The one that I have in here, in my current one, which is a 7th or 8th gen Intel processor, is not really supported by it. Why? Because it's too slow. Intel is considering it too slow. Not Intel, I should say. Microsoft is considering it too slow, which is, for me, insane. Uh, they, as a company as a whole, have been bloating Windows like crazy. When I look under the Linux environments, and I'm not talking about the, when I say Linux in general, usually when people say Linux, especially the guys that I deal with, usually we talk about the kernel. The kernel is Linux. That's what it is. It's the graphical user interface. It's what you and I what's the word I'm looking for? Use to manipulate stuff on the computer. Okay, the GUI. There's about 10 or 15 different GUIs depending on your fancy. I mean, because they have some like GNOME or GNOME, which is, I think, the heaviest set one, which I used to like way in the beginning when Horty Hedgehog was out from Conical, which is Ubuntu. Loved them way back in the day, but now because they changed the interface, Ubuntu is still good. I have no problems with it. It's just the interface is like I kind of got leery to it. But since there's on the Linux side, there's about 450 different distributions of Linux with different interfaces. And what I like about that is it doesn't matter which version of Linux you're using. And depending on what you're needed for too. Linux is rock solid. From my point of view, it's solid. It's based out of Linux is based off of is a cousin of Unix, which has been used on the backside of many corporations. And Unix, besides that being a paid license for that itself, Linux is more or less for the individual, like myself and anybody else who's out there interested in it. It's open source and free. Nothing to hide. You want to do what you want to do with it, go for it. You want to change it to whatever you want it to be, go for it. They give you the, here's the source code. You want to do what you want to do with it, go ahead. That's what I like about Linux. It's do what you want with it. We don't care, so long as you provide the source code to what you're doing. Good. Many people are afraid of that. I'm even afraid of it a little bit, but I mean, in general, just for a nice little tweak interface, different from Windows, because I've been around since Windows 3.1, and going from Windows 3.1 to 95, 98, 98 second edition, Windows NT, Windows 2000, is, you tend to be like one of those bobbleheads. It's like blah 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 blah. But it's just for the fact it's nice and clean. I have nothing against Microsoft themselves. I use it for work. I use it like on this here, doing my recordings with you guys here. Never much of a problem. I get by with what I need to know and doing certain things I need to get done with it. So it's a great little operating system as well for those who do not want to go into the old command line or doing things that are not out that is not the same as Windows. So me, I look at it, I like dabbling a little bit of Windows, a little bit of Linux, depending on my fancy for the day. So sometimes I'll go in, sometimes I won't, depending on the day. But overall, since today's Sunday, my last day of vacation, I'm going back to work tomorrow, which means taking calls, technical support, especially for the ATMs. Love the ATMs. I figured just to get you guys up to board, I think I'm ready to go back to work. It's been one full week that I can rest on my own, do what I wanted to do, get what I wanted to get done, and be happy. So I'll leave you guys with that there. I know it's not, I know I haven't produced a lot of videos here. I've been meaning to do it, just I haven't had a chance. As soon as I can during the weeks, like on the weekends, I'm going to try to start getting back into certain things, like a review on certain products that I have. One of them happens to be my electric snow shovel, which I love. I love using that son of a gun, especially for doing walkways and decks, because that's what the main use for it is. And maybe if it's not too much snow in front of the driveway, especially at the carport or the temple that we have, it works fantastic. I love that. Even though it's just a straight, you can only point it in one direction. There's no movement of the fins there to guide the snow that you're plowing through. So that's besides the point. I'll let you guys go. I'll catch you guys hopefully soon enough, and we'll chat next time. See you then.